I'm Maruno, and the reason I'm on the internet today is because I want to talk about modern masculinity, right? Um, and it seems like there's like this wave right now that's going on where like all these dudes are on the internet like trying to tell each other how to be men, right? Um, so maybe you want to be like an alpha male now because of the internet. You want to be like an alpha where, or maybe you want to be like the top G, right? You want to have all the women, all the Bugattis. You want to have every woman obeying your command. You want to be the most muscled. You want to be able to fight. You want to have fucking weapons because, you know, like just in case a nigga get iffy, you need that blicky with the sticky. You know what I'm saying? So there's all these ideas about masculinity. And I want to show you that they are just ideas, and ideas are not real. So I think, I think I just did a little bit of disservice. I kind of just like made it sound, I kind of just gave a bunch of definitions of like toxic masculinity, quote unquote toxic masculinity, but like there's more wholesome, you know, ideas about masculinity on the internet. Like, there are dudes that like think a man is like, you go to church every Sunday. You go to church and you have, you know, a strong foundation in your heart. You're a family man. You get to one woman, you love her with all your heart, and you have children. She stays home, takes care of the kids, and you go out and you work and you provide and you do everything you're supposed to do. You don't complain because you're a man and you're stoic and like, you know, wholesome. You're a wholesome man and you're driven and you have a great loyal soul and you really do what you ought to do as a man, you know? And so that's like, in general, that's kind of like encapsulates most of the ideas that people have about being a man. But I think we should take a step back from all these ideas first. And I think we should look at dictionary definitions of what masculinity is, just for example. So let's go on Google right now. Masculinity. All right, so masculinity is defined as qualities or attributes regarded as characteristic of men or boys. Qualities or attributes regarded as characteristic of men or boys. So it's just saying whatever qualities men or boys have, right? So I'm gonna look up the definition of men because I'm assuming I'm not talking to boys right now. I'm talking to a bunch of real ass grown ass niggas. So let's go to men. Okay, that pulled up a movie. Let me just type man. Man. An adult male human being. So basically like after puberty, you're a man, right? Because an adult male is just like a fully like grown man, right? Like a fully grown. So you're past puberty and like all your systems are go, right? So with that being said, as long as you're fully grown and you're a male, you're a man, right? So there's nothing that you have to try to do to be a man. And I think the more you try to be a man, the more it like actually takes you out of man. It takes you away from what you're really trying to accomplish. So like, for example, let's say you have ideas about what a man is. So instead of being yourself, you go with your ideas of what a man is. But if the real man is the adult male biological human, why do you think you have to try to be a man? Like, why can't you just trust God and trust that energy flowing through you to be as masculine as it needs to be? Like, why do you think that it needs to be effort to put into sustaining it, or that you have to consider other people's opinions about whether or not you are really a man, or like, why do you feel like you have to like aggressively assert? Why do you feel like you have to like try to be a man? Like, if anything, the more you try to be a man, the more it's gonna make you like a woman, or make you more what your idea. Like the more you're trying to go towards your ideas of what it is to be a man, the more it goes back to the contrast of that same idea. So like, if you want to be like, let's say you think that you want to be a tough guy, right? So because men are tough. So if anybody fucks with you, you're kicking ass, right? But all that's gonna really do is make you like more sensitive. You're being more emotional. If you're just waiting for the opportunity to just take anything anybody says to you and get upset about it, you're like becoming more like you're being more emotional like a woman would be, right? And maybe you think you need to get ultra rich, right? So you can have all this shit. And let's say you do get ultra rich and you have all this shit. Well, people who have a lot of shit, those are usually targets of robbery. So now you have to be scared. Now you're gonna be scared, and being scared is like feminine, right? You don't want to be. If you want to be a tough guy, nobody fucks with you, right? But if you have everything in the world, everybody else wants everything in the world, right? So now you have to use a bunch of energy protecting yourself. Maybe you have to hire security because you're scared now. Maybe you have to lock everything in a safe because you're just so now you're scared. So, you know, like that's your energy is being fucked with because you have ideas about what it should be like. But ultimately, when we're thinking about what is a man and what is a woman, it's easy to get lost in these ideas about what it is to be a man, because most of us, our minds are locked into a state of duality. And what I mean by that is you are constantly going throughout your life and you're dividing things up in the world, and you're calling that, whatever your division is, you're calling that's the most important thing. For example, say you're like let's say you're like overweight, right? When you're fat, you think that your problem is fat. So what you're going to do is you're going to focus on the fat because you think that that's the problem. You think, what should I do about this fat because I'm fat? So maybe you might do something like get surgery to get it removed because that solves the problem, right? But you still have fat ideas. You still operate on a fat drive, right? So you're going to just gain that weight right back because you haven't looked at the entire system that you are as a whole. You're trying to look at a specific part of it, like if you're a doctor on a specific part, like if you're like a stomach doctor, you're gonna focus on somebody's stomach. You're gonna be, everything that you tell them is gonna be related to their stomach. Maybe you need to have a stomach surgery on them to make their stomach smaller so that they stop eating, or whatever the case may be. But it's not just the stomach. That's the issue. It's like a human being is not just a stomach. A human being is not like a car where you can just like, you know, focus on a part and you know, it'll fix the system. You know, a human being is an organism, not a mechanism. So there's that aspect of things where you're just dividing the universe up into all these different parts. You're not seeing the system as a whole. And this particular problem is that you're not seeing human beings as a whole. You're seeing men and women. So it's becoming dramatically important, the distinctions between men and women. That's what a lot of these issues are with like all this LGBTQ stuff and like all these transgender stuff and like all the issues that, you know, like traditional heterosexual men, like masculine men who think they're tough guys and all this shit. You know, they're having issues with the other side because they aren't seeing the whole picture. So the truth about the situation is that every single human being is a combination of man and woman. If you're a male, you came out of a woman, and you know, like women, and it's like a cycle, right? Women make men and women together make other human beings. It's a system. It's a pair. It's not one or the other. Wherever you find a man, you'll find a woman. Wherever you find a woman, you'll find a man. So what we're really talking about when we're talking about people is we're talking about a specific system. We're talking about men. Every human is a man-woman. It's a man-woman system that's happening now. It on the surface, it appears to be different, and that's what duality is doing to your consciousness. It's making you believe that men is one thing and women is another thing. But really, what's good for men is good for women. What's good for women is good for men. And you know, that's just how the system works. So it's like, what I'm trying to communicate is men and women go together. There is no how to be the most manly man. And I kind of already try to demonstrate, the more you try to be like a man, you just end up falling back into woman, right? Because there's nowhere you can really go. You're a human being. So think about how like in the womb there is no sex, right? So like, to all the men watching, all it takes is a quick look downstairs, look at your nuts, bro. You have a little line down there, bro, and that was your coochie before you became a man, before you became a boy in the womb. That was your coochie, bro. And women, same thing. Your clit that was your little dang lane. You know what I'm saying? Like the thing is not it's not so specific as it's either man or woman. The thing is a man woman. So men and women are a system. They go together. There's no separation of man and woman. And the need to try, feeling that need to try to be a man is kind of like silly, because it's like it's like you're trying to do the impossible rather than just allow the force of the universe to flow through you. You're kind of saying what I am isn't good enough. So you end up, you're rejecting what you actually are. Suppose that you actually are kind of like more feminine as a man. Let's say you're a male and you have kind of like more feminine traits than masculine traits. Like, so what? Like, why is it so hard for you to accept yourself? Why do you feel this need to be somebody that you're not? Like, it's like the beauty of this world is that everything is expressing itself individually and uniquely. So supposing you're a male who's a little bit more feminine, like, that's you, bro. Like, that's you, and you need to you just need to own up to yourself, bro. Own up to that and embrace yourself. The sooner that you can embrace yourself, the sooner your life will just like unfold, and it will become like this magical experience where you're just in harmony with the universe. You're in harmony with the energy of the universe rather than resisting it. It's like this. In life, we're all kind of just like flowing down this like powerful stream into this vast ocean of nothingness, right? And you can submit to that. You can allow yourself to go with that flow. You can allow that current to take you and just meet up with that vast nothingness along the course, right? Or you can resist it and you can swim upstream. You can swim against the current, and you can believe with all your might that you're going the opposite direction, right? You can believe with all your might that you're going against the current, but you're still flowing with that current, bro. The only difference is that you're making it a lot harder for yourself. You're living in a situation. Your idea about what's happening is different than what is actually happening. What's actually happening is you're going with that current whether you like it or not. So you might as well get with it now and flow with it now and enjoy whatever life brings to you, than sitting in this state of hatred of yourself, denial of yourself. You're at odds with yourself. You don't trust yourself, bro. And if you don't trust yourself, it's like this. You can only trust, like, you can only think that you can only have ideas of, only your ego cannot trust itself. Because at the end of the day, you have to trust yourself whether you want to or not. It's like the stream analogy that I just said. Like, if you don't trust yourself, it's like, do you trust yourself to not trust yourself? Or what the fuck, bro? Like, what's going on with you? Like, do you trust yourself to not trust yourself? Or what? Like, you might as well just trust yourself as you feel yourself than be having these ideas about what you should and shouldn't be and how you should and shouldn't act, or trying to be like a different person because you think that's what it should be. If you're a short guy, if you're short and you think that you're like a bitch because of that, why are you at odds with yourself, bro? Like, embrace that. If you're 5'6", embrace that. If your voice isn't that deep, I don't think I have the deepest voice. My voice was one of the things that I was super insecure about, like, growing up. If you don't have a deep voice, so what, bro? Embrace what you got. If you're not super muscular, embrace you have a body that works, right? Hopefully, like most people do. Unfortunately, some people don't have fully able bodies, so you just appreciate what you have, bro. Like, there's nothing that you have to do. There's no way that anybody has to be like. And living in that delusion, all it's gonna do is you're gonna live in that. And by the time you get to the end of your life, you're gonna be like, what the hell was I doing? What was I thinking? Like, why did I go through my entire experience resisting what the experience was? Like, that's like ultimate sin, bro. Like, that's a failure. And that's not anybody else's failure. That's your failure on yourself, right? You resisted life. You resisted God. You resisted the universe, the entire experience, and ignored the fact that that's what you were the entire situation. So, the whole point I'm trying to make here is that you don't have to get bent up about whether or not you look like a man or act like a man or sound like a man. You can trust yourself as long as let's go by the dictionary definition. You're an adult male human being. Trust yourself, bro. If anything, that's the most masculine thing you can do, is trust yourself and go with that energy, because what will happen is you will end up being a man without trying to be a man. The more you try, the more you end up not succeeding, you know? So just allow yourself to be yourself. Don't get pent up about it. Don't let any other adult male tell you how you need to be as an adult male. Just trust yourself, bro. Like that's all there is to it. So I hope you learned something. That's about all I had to say. And have a good life. Peace.